Welcome to Golf and the Good Life, your guide to golf travel across the pond. I'm DJ Jones, he is Connor Evers, and today we are returning to our Legendary Links series for a conversation with Andy Leadbetter from Royal Liverpool Golf Club. Andy joined us to share his insight on Royal Liverpool, what it's like to host the Open Championship, and why England's Gulf Coast deserves a higher place on your golf travel list. So without further ado, enjoy our conversation with Andy Leadbetter. Well, Andy, first and foremost, thank you for investing your valuable time to be with us here today. As we were talking not long ago, it feels like the off season, so to speak, for those of us in golf travel is about a day long these days. And so your time is valuable, but I've got to start with something that happened just a day or two ago. I'm flipping through Instagram and I come along Royal Liverpool's post, and all of a sudden there's a explosion on the golf course. What happened?
Oh, absolutely incredible. Well, it is actually a new measure we've introduced to increase the pace of play on the golf course. It's either that, gents, or it is a new strategy by Martin Ebert to design bunkering to expedite the process. We want to catch up with Lytham and St Anne's to have that many bunkers, and we can't dig them all ourselves. We've got to start blowing up the turf. But joking aside, as Royal Liverpool's proximity to central Liverpool, some of the history of the local area is very, very serious. So Liverpool was impacted significantly in World War II, being such a prominent and important port. It was of strategic value with the German forces, and they made attempts to destroy the city. I think as soon as they could see the lights of the city, they would be dropping their bombs, some of which landed on the golf course. And I think every year or two, there's a dog walker on the beach, they'll find one, or, there's a couple on the golf course. Yeah, so the only reason it's found, so please don't worry about coming to play. The only reason about it is the club's undertaking some course maintenance work to maintain the standards over the summer season. So there's some drainage work happening this winter as we've got the honour of hosting the 131st Amateur Championship in June. So one of the drainage tracks from the club's practice ground, which is in the centre of the golf club, the vision is to allow water to drain more efficiently into the River Dee estuary. So they've had to make these little channels. And when they were digging such a channel, they found a bomb, and they had to call the powers that be to come in, effectively blow it up. I'm sure. I mean, we've discussed, you've seen a video of it on Instagram. I encourage everyone watching, go and see. And that's the cover story. The real reason is that is how they were slow playing.
I love it. What stuff. Yeah, it's such an interesting thing. I saw it on social media, and I saw, hey, golf course explosion. And I'm like, oh my goodness, Royal Liverpool. I'm looking forward to chatting with Andy about that, getting some more specifics from boots on the ground.
It is incredible. It's all very well and good to have a little giggle about it now, gents. But I mean, really, wow, my colleagues were in quite close proximity to one of those artillery shells. And yeah, so thankfully it went off excitingly without incident, but we're back up and running now. We were only closed for a very short period of time for all members, and everyone was back out there.
Well, that's good. Well, as DJ said, we appreciate your time, Andy, and looking forward to chatting to you more about yourself and Royal Liverpool. And as both DJ and we've both experienced great days at Hoylake and Royal Liverpool, and you're one of which that helps to that added experience. But when we both arrived at the club, and a lot of the visitors that do, you're the first person that they see, yes. Welcoming groups and what have you. So I guess kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and how your story came about, and your kind of journey to Hoylake and Liverpool.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me on. It's such a pleasure to be with you. And may I first say a big thank you to all the Havisham and Baker golfers who've already been to see us. I hope you enjoyed a wonderful day at Hoylake. And to those yet to visit, we hope to welcome you to England's Gold Coast in the future. So my journey here, I mean, I only recently came into the world of golf, really. I grew up in Hoylake, around 2 miles away from the club. I was educated locally. Then I moved away when I attended the University of Birmingham in the Midlands, around 2 hours away. where I studied engineering, specializing in product design and software development, which led to 3 patents and a very, very small startup in the music industry, which took us here, there, just about everywhere. And we survived as little minnows in a very big pond, just shy of 20 years, before realizing we'd been in product development just long enough to know that we didn't want to be in product development anymore. And thankfully, our projects got absorbed, and it gave us the freedom to choose how we should live the next phase of our lives. And we decided, as a family, that Dorothy was right. There's no place like home. And we prioritized the important things in life. And it's been lovely. I learned the subtle difference between reacting to life and living it. And I'm very grateful to be enjoying the latter. I've got 3 boys. They're all growing up now. And my wife, Anita, enjoys her own very successful career. So my journey here to Royal Liverpool, as crazy as it sounds, 5 or 6 years ago, we genuinely looked at the closest interesting place of employment to my front door on the map. And I applied for a starter's job at Royal Liverpool while we were adjusting to our new lives, being focused at home. And from the very first moment I arrived at the club, I just felt so comfortable. The whole place has this most beautiful energy. My interview, it turned into a lovely chat. And after we'd put the world to rights, Simon, the club secretary, reached out to me after a week or so, and they kindly offered me the job. That was 6 years ago. We haven't looked back. And my role within the club has grown from there, really. So now my primary function is to essentially manage and deliver the visiting golfer business. And I couldn't be happier. I'm very fortunate to be involved in such a wonderful place, not only to have the most fabulous colleagues, wonderful members. I get to make loads of new friends each week when the season kicks in. It's brilliant. It's 900 yards from my front door. And I'm blessed.
Well, it's all outstanding stuff, Andy. And, you touched on something there that I kind of want to talk further on. And you talked about the energy of the club. For that visitor, like you just mentioned, that's making that first pilgrimage, if you will, to Royal Liverpool, what can they expect during that first, or even if it's their return visit to the club?
Let's hope it's their return visit. So, I mean, some groups will have traveled more than halfway around the world to visit us. It may be their only chance. So expectations are high, and rightly so. I know for a fact, after speaking with many of them, they've got wonderful golf courses back home. They're guaranteed a very warm welcome, to be challenged by a world-class golf course, and to be made to feel at home and relaxed by everybody they meet. It's that energy we mentioned. Hoylake and the surrounding area, we're built on sandstone, and the links sit right on the banks of the River Dee, which is on the westerly corner of our little peninsula. And it has this huge tidal flow. It empties and fills twice a day from the Irish Sea. And I am convinced that there's a mixture of the fresh air, which we've got plenty of, I can assure you of, and that moving water, the warmth of the sandstone under feet. It does something to the ether. There must be a hidden ley line or something. I've been lucky enough to see a fair bit of the world, but that Hoylake feeling is unique. Hey, maybe I'm biased. And speaking directly to the viewers, guys, when you arrive at Royal Liverpool, you'll feel it for yourself. You'll be part of it. The first thing you'll hear from any of us, because it's not just me that welcomes everybody. It's a team effort. You're members for the day. Enjoy yourselves. Everywhere you turn, there's just so much history. You can feel it. It's all beautifully cared for and presented by our Heritage Committee. It's infectious. We want some of it to rub off on you. We're always delighted to share a few stories, old and new. Give as many people that want a quick tour around the clubhouse before they venture out to play. But most importantly, and the reason why you are going to travel, is we have a world-class golf course here. One of several on England's Gold Coast. I mean, Royal Liverpool is the home of 13 Opens, 18 Amateur Championship, a Women's Open, 2 Walker Cups. We lost them both, and a whole host of globally recognized events, you know. And thanks to the leadership of our club council, the secretary, very responsible Greens committee, the Hoylake future, I think it's in safe hands.
That's great. We appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, it's such a lovely experience. I was just there in October, just a few months ago, and you know, got to obviously meet you and play the links. But I you know, jokingly, you know, you get there and doing the tour with you, and you're showing me all the history and you know, Roy's wedge and Tiger's 2-iron from the Open and all this stuff, and you come into the clubhouse and it feels very homey, and it, you know, jokingly tongue in cheek, it's like the last thing I want to do is go out and play 18 holes on the golf course. I just want to hang out in the clubhouse with you and, you know, learn more. So that's the experience that you get, you know, at your club and the others in the area. That's for sure.
Well, that's very kind of you to say so. It was our aim from the recent event we hosted was for all tour operators, I mean, especially a valued ones, Havisham and Baker, our tours, is for you to see firsthand exactly what happens when you come to Royal Liverpool. We're all on the same hymn sheet here. We're all facing the same direction. We know how special Hoylake is, and we are truly grateful that people, they take their time, their energy to come and visit us. We want to make sure that when they watch the Open on the telly, hopefully we'll get another Open, they're watching it with their friends and they can, I made that putt that Rory missed, or just something, and they've only got happy memories of their day with us.
I would say too, I mean, when a group is looking to travel to England's Gulf Coast,
Yes.
Usually it's their second, third, fourth, fifth trip. You know, they've been to Ireland, they've done Northern Ireland and Dublin, they've been to Southwest Ireland, they've been to Scotland, you know, they've done St. Andrews and the East Lothian area or what have you. And, you know, they're looking for that next trip.
Absolutely.
So why should a group that they may be looking at this for the third or fourth trip, why should they move that trip to England's Gulf Coast up in their kind of list of trips?
That is a great question. And the list, the hierarchy of people's golfing trips, we fully recognize this. I mean, England's Gulf Coast probably won't be your first golfing holiday. I mean, I'd probably choose to go to St. Andrews first, but hopefully it will be your next one. I mean, where else can you plan a golfing holiday? Base yourselves in one single, brilliant, vibrant, welcoming, fun city with a great nightlife, a fabulous music scene, loads of history, fantastic hotels, great restaurants, and then easily travel out each day to 8 wonderful golf courses. I mean, these are all clubs that have either hosted Opens, Women's Opens, Walker Cups, Ryder Cups, Amateur Championships, Curtis Court, and all of that's within 35, 40 miles on the coast. I mean, I think the initial feedback when speaking with our visiting golfers is just how amazed everybody is, how close it all is together. You know, it's incredible. And I don't think it's about getting further up a list per se. Such things are subjective, and every player's golfing journey is different. I think it's about sharing the experience, getting us out there. That may involve us blowing up a few bits more of our fairway to give us column inches, but just bringing us attention to the seasoned golfer, wherever it lands on there playing CV. You know, I love speaking with the top 100 chasers. We've got the rota completers. There was a group who'd been friends for 40 odd years, have all been well off enough to afford the time to go on a golfing holiday basically every year. They played every course that's hosted an Open ever, not just the current ones. I was blown away. And then there's a new one to me this year. It's called the Million Yarders. I hadn't heard of this before, but apparently it takes 160 championship courses and you have added up to around 1 million yards. They were very disappointed when I said that the tees were forward and it doesn't count. I have to have a reading. Again. But nice work if you can get it. I want to hear their story of how they came to play at Hoylake. I get to meet some absolutely amazing people. And whether it's their first trip, second trip, 10th trip, they're going to have a fabulous time here. And I suppose as these traveling golfers become more cultured with international golf, I mean, you are blessed in the United States to have splendid golf clubs. But if they broaden their horizons and they come over, they'll hear about these places. They'll want to come and visit England's Gulf Coast. They'll want to play Southwest Ireland. They'll want to play East Lothian. They'll want to play Muirfield there. They'll want to play golf to Royal Dornoch and places like that. We've got some wonderful places in the United Kingdom.
You touched on the people. You know, we repeat that kind of often here on the show, that yes, there's the golf and what you experience is you know, what takes you there.
Yeah.
But it is the people that you remember the most, whether it's members, whether it's your driver, whatever it might be. And a perfect example from your club, when I was there a few years ago, I was playing by myself, glorious sunny day, and I had on a hat from Bay Hill, just had Arnold Palmer's umbrella on it. And I come to the halfway house, and there's a group of your members sitting at a table. They've decided to let me go because I'm playing by myself. And one of the gents has an umbrella Bay Hill hat on. We start talking. We've both met Mr. Palmer. We're sharing stories from the locker room at Bay Hill. And it's just a random encounter halfway around the world, like you said. Yeah. And when I think back to my day at Hoylake, of all the things I remember, that's the first thing that actually comes to mind.
What a wonderful connection. And I'll tell you what, when you walk through the corridors of Royal Liverpool or any of the local courses, you will meet someone you know, or someone that you know that you know. The degrees of separation is so tight. The world can feel a very big place sometimes, but the world of golf can bring us together. And yeah, what a great story. I mean, when Connor was with us, we were admiring Bobby Jones's cards, weren't we, Connor, in the corner of the...
Yes.
And then the Royal Liverpool's Queen Mother, she might well have been our longest serving member, was in attendance with us, a lady called Mrs. Williams. She's a wonderful, wonderful person. And one of the gentlemen who was also at the event said, "Hey, is that Roberto Di Vincenzo's real medal?" I said, "It is, yeah. We're from 1967. We've got the golf ball he used. We've got his putter. We're actually custodians of his medal currently." And Mrs. Williams starts walking across the inner hall. And I said, her husband gave the great Roberto the trophy. And this gentleman, I said, "Well, my granddad caddied for him." You know? And it was just, it's just incredible. And something like that happens all the time. Yeah, we often get requests from people who will have had some involvement with us in the past. And even if they're not here to play golf, guys, they'll say, "My grandfather was captain in a certain year. We're in the area, reconnecting with family. Can we come and see?" And I said, "Of course you can." And we have all of the captain's portraits upstairs in our club room. So if you look on our website, and the viewers look on the website, upstairs in the club room, there is the most beautiful array of all the captains sat there proud in their red jackets. And I always get a little bit nervous when I see the family walking across the car park, because particularly some of the earlier pictures, we don't know if they're back in the right order. But thankfully, I'm 3 for 3 this year. I had three families to see to see their ancestors, and the portraits, because of the war and renovations and things, were taken down and put back up. So thankfully, they've been put up correctly. It's always a story.
What a game! What a game! There's nothing like it. So you touched earlier on the Open, and obviously, you know, it's a huge draw to the area, the fact that you can play 3 members of the Open Rota right in one spot.
Absolutely.
But from a Open host perspective, you just went through it a couple of years ago. Yes. What is life like around the club in an Open Championship year?
Oh, it is absolutely amazing. What's an experience? I mean, hosting, in my opinion, I consider it to be the biggest championship in golf. It's the highest honor any club may receive. Personally, it's the pinnacle of our sport. If I was good enough, I could play in one. I am not, so I worked at one. I mean, an Open Championship, it takes years of meticulous planning between the R&A and the club. However, from the outside looking in, it only really starts to take shape around April of the championship year. And it's so exciting for everybody. You can feel it in the air all season. I mean, you know, all year we play the links in the championship routing. So the same order that the players compete in the championship. And that experience of walking down the 18th fairway with the horseshoe grandstand around you, the massive yellow scoreboard, you know, it's just incredible. It's awe-inspiring. It does feel electric. I mean, what other sport do you have access to a major championship venue 3 weeks out? I mean, I think the first week in July, we stopped our last visiting golfers and we said to the last group, a group of American gents, and we said, that's it. Next person that tees up here is Matthew Jordan, our member. He's playing in the Open. You know, it's fantastic. And from my side, it's very much a year-long celebration. It's hard work, but with my job, I only get to enjoy the good bits. You see, I only get to have the excitement, the people who are visiting us on their holiday, looking after the sponsors of the Opens, things like that. So I get all of the really, really good bits. The championship committee have all of the headaches to solve every day. But the highlight, and this is a mega brag, but I'm going to say it anyway. I had the honor of being one of the starters on the practice days for 151. It was just incredible. What an experience to be in such proximity to the world's best. I mean, some childhood heroes. It'll just live long in my memory. So I had the honor of doing that with my colleague Mark. So when the visiting golfers come, you'll probably meet Mark. He's a lovely, lovely chap, and he'll be the one who sets you off on the first tee. We got 2 new course records. John Rahm, 63 on the Saturday. That's my current line at the moment. And then as recently as this summer in the English Amateur, a 63. Can you believe it? I don't know how they do it, but there you go. It was an absolute pleasure. Being part of an Open, there's Royal Liverpool or Royal Birkdale or Royal Lytham. When you come in a normal kind of members year, they're majestic. They are just, they are wonderful, wonderful, wonderful golf courses. But if you're my kind of personality, disposition, I just get so excited about things. And to be able to play and weave yourself through that city of all the corporate stuff, all the bridges, there might be players there having a practice round or two. It's just so exciting. It really is.
You talked about it being a year-long celebration, and I was just going to add that I was there the year of the Open, but it wasn't until about November 1 range. And the day that I was there, the gent was putting the gold leaf with Brian Harmon's name on your champion board.
Wow.
So here we are almost 4 months later, and I have photos of him doing the rubbing, and just a great celebration for the whole year.
Isn't that incredible? And when your golfers visit, or they can have a quick look on our website, normally in English golf clubs, the achievements of the membership are presented around the clubhouse. Okay. The only way to get on the Royal Liverpool Honours Board, and I can assure you it's something that's never going to happen to me, is to win an Open, win an Amateur Championship, win a Women's Open. It's just incredible. The achievements, the world's elite and all of the finest men and women to play the game, they're all sat there on that Honours Board. And Brian Harmon, he thoroughly deserves his place there. A truly worthy champion. We got to spend a little time with Brian and his caddy because they arrived slightly early. They were just absolutely lovely guys. We get lots of bulldogs coming to play Royal Liverpool from Georgia. And do you know what? There must be something in the water there because they're a good bunch. I want to come and see. And I mean, from a local's point of view, I think on Saturday morning, the only people that wanted Brian to win were Brian, his caddy, and his mum. Because it's very much Tommy Fleetwood country. But do you know what? Yep. He made so many friends here. And we wish him every success. His life certainly changed. He's an Open champion.
Yeah, that's great. And we've been talking a lot about the experience in the club and the Open, which is all great. But I want to talk more about, we want to talk more about the links.
Yeah,
Kind of talk
absolutely.
about us about, your favorite kind of maybe 2 or 3 holes, if you will, on the golf course, or a special spot, out in the links, if you don't mind.
No, absolutely. Great question. So personally, I love the coastal stretch, the Harry Colt classics. That stretch, 9, 10, 11, and 12 that run parallel to the River Dee. They're as good as any golf holes anywhere. They are splendid. And they've also got these beautiful views into the estuary. It is absolutely gorgeous. However, I suppose every hole has her own story. We get to add our own chapter. Unfortunately, mine's always a suspense-filled horror. The Hoylake slicing, I think, is the best name for my chapter at the moment. But I suppose it's the best thing about golf, isn't it? There's always something to talk about on the 19th, good or bad. And so that's what leads me to one of my favorite places to be involved with. So after golf, the Spike Bar and the terrace outside, if it's a lovely day, it's just full of wonderful international voices. They're all regaling successes, contemplating what might have been, or sharing a tale of woe over a glass of something cool with a new best friend at the bar after the mighty Hoylake wind got the better of them. But my favorite spot in the whole club, on the whole property, is the view from Little Eye's green. So Little Eye in a championship year is the 17th hole for our members. And if you're not playing in the championship year, it's the 15th hole. It is a relatively new par 3. It was built in anticipation for 151. And it's a very short hole, very well bunkered. And the views up there are just to die for. I mean, you're looking out into the estuary. There's 3 little islands. So there's Little Eye, its namesake, the hole's namesake, Middle Eye and Hilbury Island. And then on a clear day, you can see right the way through to the mountains of mid Wales. You can see the Great Orme. That's where Thor got his hammer, on Great Orme in Wales, apparently. So yeah, and we're treated the most beautiful Turner-esque sunsets anytime between April and October. So if you've had a nice round or the course got the better of you, at least you get to enjoy that beautiful sunset.
Yeah, that's good. I was telling kind of the staff here after being to the area and your club too. I mean, just the hangout after, golf is fantastic. I mean, it's just a great experience.
It's all part of club life, Connor. Hoylake and the Liverpool people in general were quite a sociable bunch. Again, there's something in the water. It's a place of happiness, a place of relaxation, and we want everybody to be involved. I know for a fact that there's loads of our members hang around on a Friday just to meet everybody, just to find out where they're from, hear their story, guarantee that someone will know somebody. Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic.
We always talk about that. If you have come to these great clubs and you've shown up and you've played your golf and you've gotten back on the coach or back in your car and moved on, for lack of a better way to say it, you've kind of done it wrong. You've kind of missed out on half of the experience, and that is enjoying the camaraderie with the locals and the members, and seeing the clubhouse and the museum that you have there at Hoylake.
Absolutely. And that's why I think the welcome from not just myself, everybody, from the pro staff team to the house team, and by extension, the people back of house that deliver all of the wonderful hospitality for us. We make sure the visiting golfers are introduced to everybody when they arrive, so they know you are welcome to use any of these lounges. There is no segregation between you or any of our members. You are members of our club. This is Angela, our bar manager. She'll look after you before and after golf. There's no way you can't sit. If you see a comfortable chair, please use it. We want people to really feel that experience. And to that end, for the first time this past season, 2025, we actually introduced golf followed by a members' lunch. So if you were looking for the kind of, it's a privilege that previously would only have been extended to one of our members. Essentially, you play a morning tea time on a Tuesday, and then after your round, a member of the house team will come and meet you off the 18th with a glass of something cool, and you'll go straight up to our members' club room. with the big windows overlooking the course and the estuary. And then you can enjoy a beautiful 2-course a la carte lunch. It's included in the green fee, in the members' dining room. We've relaxed the dress code because we don't expect travellers to bring 8 different sports coats with them. So your golfing attire is absolutely fine. But that really is, it closes the circle on that promise that we set out to deliver. Is you are a member of the club for today. So make a day of it. Don't run off onto the coach. Even if you think you've got, somewhere else to go, enjoy your day at Hoylake, because we do it right.
So everything that you just talked about there is what, at least at H&B, what we classify as the good life. Everything that takes place off the course, whether it's restaurants, hotels, spa, pubs, nightlife. So let's stick with the good life for a minute. And as a local, you mentioned the music scene and the vibrant city life and so forth. What are some of the places in and around Liverpool and even elsewhere in the area that visitors shouldn't miss?
Absolutely. Okay. So I think I always try to put myself in the visiting golfer's shoes. How would I like them to enjoy Liverpool to her best? If I was visiting the region, personally, I would choose to stay in central Liverpool. So for context, if you're staying in the city centre, you're just under 30 minutes to our first tee. And you're just under 50 minutes to Royal Birkdale. It's just one straight road up. And then you've got Hillside, Southport and Ainsdale, Formby, West Lancs, Wallasey, Royal Liverpool. Apologies if I've missed anybody. Royal Liverpool's a little bit further up, but you can see it's still drivable. So central Liverpool for me is what to go for. The Municipal Hotel, the Hope Street Hotel and the Titanic Hotel, they get amazing feedback. And being in the city centre, you're right in the middle of everything. It's such good fun. The Royal Albert Dock is also a great place to stay. So that's just on the waterfront. But that's where the locals go for a nice evening out. It's lovely there. I think the best way to describe Liverpool to your viewers, to our viewers, is to think of the city centre as Royal London Borough. So if you picked up Royal London Borough like Islington or that type of size of place, and picked it up and plonked it in our teeny tiny corner of the country, that's what you can expect. You can walk across it in around 20 minutes, half an hour. All the hotels are central. It's got that great balance of the old and new. There's been significant investment into the city over the last 15 or 20 years. And from my experience of visiting other places in the world, and when investment comes, you can lose a little bit of the soul of the host city, because they all seem to be the same restaurants. They all seem to be the same shops. You could more or less be anywhere. Liverpool has such a wonderful history. There's some wonderful, wonderful Georgian architecture. It's splendid. In fact, all of the latest Hollywood blockbusters are all being filmed in our fair city. So you might recognise it from some of the modern films. But yeah, it is fantastic. And speaking of the old, some of the old pubs are just incredible. Great crack. I mean, I say to people, if you don't go to the Philharmonic dining rooms, you're not allowed to come and play Royal Liverpool. Right? it's right up by the Hope Street Hotel. It is one of my favourites in the world. And I think it is just about the most English boozer you could ever visit in your life. It is fantastic. In fact, I have previously shared a few pictures of it with you guys. So get those circulated. And because I am basically so nosy, I always like to find out where everyone's staying, what their plans are while they're with us. And sometimes I'll get emails or phone calls the next day saying, oh, thanks for that recommendation, thanks for this, thanks for that. We actually print out. There is a local, well, it's national actually, an organisation called CAMRA, CAMRA. And that stands for the Campaign for Real Ale. So in England, there's a difference between a pub and a bar. So a bar will be more like we call like a wine bar. So and a pub is what you think a pub should be, and an English pub should be. And so these CAMRA maps. There's about 70 or 80 pubs within a stone's throw of the city centre. If you stayed in the Municipal Hotel, they're all within a staggering distance. I print out these maps and they say, well, these are my top 10. See if you can go on them. And we had a group of gentlemen, and
Oh, no.
they played on the Tuesday and the Friday. They were with us in the week. So I gave them the map on the Tuesday, and they came back in on the Friday. They didn't have quite the same spring in their steps on the Friday when they came in. And then I said, how did you get on the top 15 list? So we finished it. I said, what do you mean? I said, oh yeah, we did that on Tuesday and Wednesday. So basically they've been to the wall. So all of those pubs, you can't go wrong. Always ask us, because we'll give you the goss to show you the best places to go, because everybody's tastes are different. Like I say, Liverpool, I'm biased. I hope my enthusiasm is coming across. It's amazing. You're going to have a great week.
I agree. We had spent, I think, 2 or 3 nights in the city and around those hotels. I mean, it's just littered with pubs and restaurants and what have you. So the night scene is very fun, and why a lot of groups should stay in the city. I concur with you on that. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
And no one has mentioned the Cavern Club, like
absolutely,
perhaps the biggest draw to the entire downtown area.
Well, yeah. So just to provide a little context for everybody, the Cavern Club, we all know why that's famous, the Fab Four, but it's on the corner of Matthew Street. Okay, and think of Matthew Street as a decent par 3 length, so it's about 200 yards long, and I think there must be about 20 bars and pubs and restaurants within that, all next to each other. So that's kind of one of the main kind of nightlife places to go. And of course, the Cavern, you got to go down that spiral staircase right the way down to the bottom. It used to be a storage room, and then it was a coffee house, and then the Mersey beat scene and the music that the Beatles kind of took over the world from, they exploded from there. And it's absolutely fantastic. That's only a 5-minute walk from the Municipal Hotel. All of the city centre is smaller than the site that Royal Liverpool sits on. I think, it's very, very compact. I mentioned the Philharmonic pub before. So the Philharmonic pub is right opposite our Philharmonic Hall. It's where our beautiful classical music is produced. And that's situated on Hope Street. So you're right next to the Hope Street Hotel. Hope Street is around a mile long, and it has a beautiful cathedral on each end. So they have the Catholic Cathedral, otherwise known as Paddy's Wigwam, down at the north end of the street. And then we have the beautiful Anglican Cathedral at the south end. And Sir Paul McCartney has a music school on Hope Street. It's called the Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts. It's LIPA. And whenever Sir Paul is home, because this used to be one of his haunts when he was a youngster, him and John Lennon, they used to enjoy going to the Philharmonic pub. Sometimes he turns up, and so you could actually legitimately Google this. Wow. So in Anfield, which is Liverpool's third cathedral, that's where Liverpool play football. Try and get football tickets if you can. It's an amazing experience. You should do it if you can. Bruce Springsteen and Paul McCartney just turned up last June when the Boss was playing his concert at Anfield Stadium, and they just turned up and played a few songs in the pub. Had a sing song with everybody. And they just turn up and do things. So there's loads going on. I always try to encourage people. So you're coming for a golfing holiday. That's your primary focus. You're going to play some of the best golf courses in the United Kingdom and Ireland, right here in Liverpool. But do what the locals do. So what we do when we have our time off, go to the Grand National. If you're here in April, I'm not too sure when the actual date is. It's normally the second week in April. Go to Aintree for the Grand National. It's the biggest horse race in the world. It's fantastic. But also, the locals, we always enjoy going to the Chester races. So if you Google the Chester races, they have the May Festival, and they have another one around the August bank holiday towards the end of there. Enjoying a day in Chester, it is a beautiful ancient Roman city with a splendid horse racing club. You can make the day what you want it to be. You can go super casual with just the guys, have a few beers and just relax, or you can make it the most super posh 5-star day out you could ever wish to have. And anywhere in between. Chester's a lovely city, so there's lots going on in the local area. And if you are here mid-season, and you look in, you might get football tickets. I'd recommend anybody just to experience it. You may only get to do it once. Go and see Liverpool play, or go and see Everton as well. They've got a wonderful new stadium. They're having a fabulous season this year. So yeah, you've got two great football teams.
That's great. Well, I guess to kind of end our discussion and summarize it again, we appreciate your time. Any kind of final thoughts or advice that a group would have if they're maybe coming up, they're going to visit Hoylake in the Liverpool area this coming year.
Cool. First of all, know that you're coming to a wonderfully welcoming city. Hoylake is probably 12 miles away from central Liverpool. We're actually in a place called Wirral. So it's a little peninsula on the northwesterly corner. We've got Royal Liverpool. On the northeasterly corner, we've got Wallasey Golf Club. That's another golf course that hopefully your viewers will know about and get to play. That's where the game Stableford was invented. Everybody's very, very welcoming. It's a city that's always welcomed people from ancient times. So I think that's in our DNA, is to be friendly. Sit up, know that all the golf clubs, we want you to be here, especially Royal Liverpool being an open venue. I think that means we should be an open club. And the chances are, because of the proximity to each other, one of the local clubs is going to be doing something amazing. So we've got the Amateur Championship in June, okay, which is a wonderful, wonderful event. It's kind of like stepping back in time a little bit from my recollection of the last time it was hosted here. And I've been to all the local venues that have hosted an Amateur Championship. If there's something going on like that, have one of your days at one of those clubs. If you've got like a spare Saturday, if you're traveling over in June and you've got a spare Saturday, come and watch the Amateur Championship. Come and see things like that. Yeah. So it's there's loads going on.
Andy, this has been absolutely fabulous. I feel like we could have carried on for at least another hour. Based on your background, we've taken you from daylight to darkness, though I guess it's only 3:45 in the afternoon there.
It's incredible. We are approaching the 23rd of December. We start getting 2.5 minutes extra every day. I can feel every second of it going dark. In the summer, if you have your visiting golfers and you're playing in late June, early July, they could be sat on our terrace or in a bar in Liverpool and the sun won't set until 11:15. But yes, it is dark. I'm looking forward to the summer, gents.
We are as well. But more importantly, thank you for investing the time and the hospitality that you roll out for our members every single year. England's Golf Coast is a highlight for many, and we appreciate everything you do to make that the case.
You are both most welcome, and let's reconnect in the new year.
And a special thanks once again to Andy for joining us today. If you have any questions about Royal Liverpool, England's Golf Coast, or just golf travel in general, send us a DM on social media. You can email us, golf@haversham.com, or head to haversham.com/podcast. You can record a question there. We would love to feature it on a future episode. Thanks as always for tuning in. We will be back again soon with another episode. But until then, we wish you plenty of golf at its finest and life at its best.